I will call the meeting to order. Gentlemen, let's get going. Sorry to interrupt you. Oh, that was Dan's fault. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the October 14th Regina Planning Commission meeting. Some members of Commission and City Administration may be attending the meeting today through video conferencing, and I would like to remind those members of the following. Please ensure that your video camera and microphone are turned off. If a member of the commission wishes to speak, use the raised hand function to be placed into the speaking queue. When speaking, remember to unmute your microphone and enable your video camera. I will note that reports RPC 25-27 and RPC 25-28 considered today by our commission will be also considered at City Council at its meeting scheduled for October 22nd, next week. The deadline to register as a delegation for the City Council meeting is noon on Monday, October 20th. Reports RPC 25-29, considered by the Commission today, will be also considered by City Council, but this time at its meeting in November, on November 5th. The deadline to register as a delegation for that City Council meeting is noon on Monday, November 3rd. Moving along, could I have a motion to approve the agenda at the call of the chair with the following adjustments? One important adjustment. There's two? Yes. We want to withdraw delegation RPC 25-31, Kim Lato, or Lato, and add delegation RPC 25-30, Brad Clifton, to item RPC 25-29, concept plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, 1458 and 1462 North Courtney Street. Any opposed? Oh, wait, we need someone to move that. Mr. Gaisier, thank you. Let me know. Okay. Thank you. Any opposed? Carried. It's time to adopt the minutes of the September 16th Planning Commission meeting. Could I have a motion to approve those? Mr. Adams. Any opposed? Carried. Now we will consider item RPC 25-27, zoning bylaw amendment 2110 King Street. I'll ask Tyson Sellinger to please introduce the report. But in place of Tyson, we have the gladiator himself, Ben Mario. Go ahead. Oh, wrong button.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Planning Commission. This item addresses an application to rezone 2110 King Street, which is the subject property, from RU Residential Urban Zone to I Institutional Zone. City Council approval is required for any zoning bylaw amendments, as there is a bylaw component. So if approved, the institutional zone will allow the landowners to proceed with an addition to the existing building. The existing building has maximized the existing site coverage under the residential zone, and the proposed zone allows for a greater site coverage. There is no intended change in land use. However, any land use permitted under the proposed I institutional zone could be applied for. Public notification was carried out in accordance with the City of Regina's public notice bylaw. Through this process, the city received 5 letters of feedback, which are summarized in Appendix B of the report. Administration's review included public feedback, applicable policy and regulations, and unique factors associated with the subject property, and administration's recommended is for approval. That concludes my introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Mario. May I have someone move this recommendation? Councillor Rashevich, do you wish to speak on this? Any questions from the team? I see one. Mr. Sontek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a question about the, if new construction takes place, what are the tax implications, if any, property tax implications? Is there an increase in revenue to the city, or are they exempt?
Through the chair, as this is a church, it would be exempt.
And just supplementary, so, and just to be absolutely certain, they already own the land, you're saying? So
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Was there any other consideration for any other development that would have generated more revenue for the city?
Through the chair, that could be a possibility if the church chooses to sell the land, and it could be redeveloped for a different purpose. So if it's not owner occupied and not used as a place of worship, then it could be taxed.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further questions, Councillor Rashevich, would you like to close debate? Thank you. I will ask the clerk to start the vote.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Adams. Commissioner Aston, online.
In favor?
Commissioner Gasser. Commissioner Kell. Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Sontag. Commissioner Wilson. Councillor Rasevich. Councillor Radens.
In favor.
And you, Mr. Chair?
In favor.
Oh, darn. Sorry, that was my bad. We'll turn them all on again and we'll just go through it. My apologies. All right, Commissioner Adams.
In favor?
Commissioner Aston.
In favor?
Commissioner Gasser.
In favor.
Commissioner Kell. In favor. Commissioner Morgan. In favor. Commissioner Sontag.
In favor.
Commissioner Wilson.
In favor.
Councillor Rasevich.
In favor.
Councillor Radens.
In favor.
And you, Mr. Chair?
In favor.
With all members present voting in favor, that motion is carried.
It's okay. No problem. You're doing great. Okay, we now move from King Street to Dudney Avenue. We will consider item RPC 25-28, zoning bylaw amendment, 1891 Dudney Avenue. I will ask Mr. Mario. No? Ah, he's back. Okay. Hi, Tyson. I'll ask Tyson Sellinger to please introduce the report. And I'll turn your mic on too. How about that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the RPC. This next item addresses an application to rezone 1891 Dudney Avenue from the mixed high-rise zone to the mixed large market zone. The primary purpose of this rezoning is to align the subject property with the parcel to the south, also known as the yards, which will allow the zoning bylaw to be applied consistently in this area. This will accommodate a land swap between the City of Regina and the landowner, which will result in a new parcel boundary configuration. This will provide the city with better access to infrastructure along Broad Street. However, this does not form part of this report and is addressed through the subdivision process. There is no intended change in land use or intended changes to the existing buildings. Public notification was carried out in accordance with the city's public notice bylaw. Through this process, no comments were received by the public. Administration's review included the public feedback, applicable policy and regulations, and the unique factors associated with the subject property. Administration's recommendation is for approval, and we can answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Sellinger. Can I have someone move the recommendation? I'm looking in this direction. There we go. Mr. Gassier, thank you. Would you like to speak on the report? Oh, okay. How about questions from the team? Anything? I thought that was a hand going up. No? Okay. I'll ask something, but I think you said it's for the subdivision process, the land swap piece. I don't really know much about that. Is this the place to explain how that works or another forum? Mr. Mario?
Through the chair, we didn't get into detail in the report because it is an administrative process that's kind of running in the background. So when we change the boundaries of a property, the zoning boundaries also need to change. So really that's what's going on here. So behind the scenes, there is kind of a trade-off between the landowner and the city. So the city needs a little bit of extra right-of-way sort of to the east of the property to get access to some utilities. So that's going to be dedicated as a lane, I believe. And then in return, we're giving up some land kind of to the north. And that'll be used for the landowner's own purposes for parking and their own storage needs. So that's generally what's going on.
Gotcha. Thank you. Seeing no further questions, I'll put it back to the mover. Would you like to close debate? Perfect. I'll ask the clerk to start the vote.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Adams,
In favor?
Commissioner Aston,
In favor?
Commissioner Gasser,
In favor.
Commissioner Kell. In favor. Commissioner Morgan.
In favor?
Commissioner Sontag,
In favor.
Commissioner Wilson,
In favor.
Councillor Rasevich,
In favor.
Councillor Radens,
In favor?
and you, Mr. Chair.
In favor.
With all members present voting in favor, this motion is carried.
Thank you very much. Our trip around Regina is now taking us from Dewdney Avenue to Courtney Street, North Courtney Street, and we have a delegation here to speak to us, RPC 25-29. I would like to call upon delegation RPC 25-30, Brad Clifton of Troika Management Corp. Of Kelowna, BC. Gentlemen, I'll ask you to introduce yourselves for the record, the organization you're representing, which I just listed, and the city or town you reside in, which I also just mentioned. Sorry, it's a process. You'll have 5 minutes to address the commission, and after that, you'll have the opportunity to respond to any questions that my colleagues here may have of you. Please go ahead.
Hi, is the mic on? Yes.
It is.
I'm Daniel Briscoe. I'm Associate Development Manager with Troika Management from Kelowna, BC.
Brad Clifton, Senior Development Manager with Troika Management Corporation, Kelowna, BC.
Thank you both. Brad, you had something to say?
Great, thank you so much. Good afternoon, members of the Planning Commission. First, I want to thank City Planning staff for their thorough work, their recommendation of approval, and their continued collaboration on the Rosewood Park neighborhood design. Before I speak to the impacts, I'll briefly introduce Troika. While we are Kelowna-based, we are the developer of the Rosewood Park neighborhood and partner with several local Regina builders. At Troika, we believe in building sustainable communities, not just buildings. Our work is guided in values of innovation, integrity, and long-term sustainability, balancing people, place, and environment to ensure every project we touch leaves a lasting positive impact. At its core, this proposal is about creating the right kind of housing in the right places at the right time. The changes before you will enable future purpose-built rental housing that meets Regina's growing demand for attainable, high-quality homes, particularly for residents who want to live near schools, parks, and future amenities. Our role as the neighborhood developer is to ensure the land is properly entitled and serviced to make that possible. The amendment reflects a responsible planning approach and directly advances the city's complete neighborhood and intensification policies. By focusing density within a defined node where existing infrastructure, transit routes, and community amenities already exist or are planned, we're maximizing the city's investment in infrastructure for the Rosewood Park neighborhood. This approach creates more housing choice, encourages walkability, and supports local services, all while maintaining traffic, servicing, and capacity within city thresholds. As part of this application, WSP prepared a transportation impact assessment confirming that the Courtney Street and Mapleford Boulevard intersection operates well within capacity, even with the additional traffic anticipated from the rezoned parcels. But even with those positive findings, we chose to go further. In response to community and school feedback, we made several refinements to our Phase 2 concept plan. First, we reduced density, shifting a number of high-density parcels to medium-density residential. We introduced a new laneway to improve circulation and add more on-street parking near the school. And we committed to planning a secondary public access within the next phase of the neighborhood, connecting Silverleaf Boulevard to Wayland Drive. We've already begun exploring potential locations for this connection with city staff to ensure it's practical, coordinated, and aligned with long-term mobility planning. A concept design for this was included in the package I submitted. These are proactive refinements, small but meaningful adjustments that strengthen the livability, functionality, and safety of the Rosewood Park neighborhood. For us at Troika, this isn't just about a rezoning. It's about ensuring the framework is in place for a well-designed, sustainable community that reflects how people actually want to live. We're proud of the work we've completed in collaboration with city staff to ensure there's rezoning, and the next phase of Rosewood Park delivers on the vision established of the concept plan and the official community plan. In short, this amendment sets the stage for a cohesive, balanced, and future-ready neighborhood, one that combines housing diversity, efficient use of land, and a strong sense of place. We appreciate the city's partnership in this process and respectfully ask the Commission to support staff's recommendation for approval. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Brad. Do any of the team members have any questions? Can I ask one about parking? Is it appropriate to ask about parking at this stage, or is it too early in the development?
Sure.
What is the parking situation there for the residents that'll be renting?
So there was one particular section in phase 2 in the concept plan where we added that laneway.
Yep.
We reduced there's basically no street fronting garage access. So there'll be, first of all, less traffic on that street, but there will be additional on-street parking in that particular location. The rest would be either access from a laneway or through the front access in streets that are not adjacent, immediately adjacent to the school. So any other road but Mapleford Boulevard, basically.
Okay, there's a black line through that side street. It starts with an M. What street is that? Runs north-south? Okay, yeah. So there'll be parking there, street parking there?
Yeah, whatever, I guess as long as it's in compliance with the city's on-street parking bylaw.
And Courtney, can we park on Courtney? No? And then are there assigned spots for renters?
They would all be either freehold, duplex, or detached, so they would have the required amount of parking stalls within the private driveway or in the garage space.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's clear for me. Thank you. Seeing no further questions. Well, I do all of a sudden. Oh, great. Thank you. All right. Mr. Gaser, you're first. Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. Apologize for last minute. So right now, if I understand correctly, right now it's mixed high intensity. Is there a particular reason, and administration might answer this, so if you're just doing what you're told, that's just fine. But if you had a reason, is there a particular reason why you wouldn't have gone to a residential high intensity as opposed to residential low, like you're suggesting, like you're approved?
Are you talking
like
about
submitted?
specifically the rezoned parcels, not the concept plan amendment?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so for the rezoned parcels, we just did an analysis of the bylaw, and we realized that what our client was looking for in terms of the scale and the density was, we could do that in the residential low-rise zone.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I don't see any lights on. Okay. It's not working?
Okay.
Hello. Reading through this, I'm just interested in the traffic situation around the schools. What you got? Do you have any suggestions for keeping the children safe and keeping the pedestrians safe?
I mean, I would defer some of that to staff, I guess, but I can tell you kind of the changes we made with the application, and I guess first and foremost what we studied as part of the application. So we did do a TAA for the rezoned parcels adjacent to Courtney Street. It found that even with the additional density added by the proposed rezoning amendments, that intersection was still at an operable and safe level. Beyond that, we had a discussion with city staff where we made a number of adjustments in phase 2, including adding that laneway I mentioned earlier to remove people backing up onto Mapleford Boulevard from their garage, adding more on-street parking in that location, and we're exploring a secondary access to improve circulation for that entire neighborhood from a drop-off perspective to the school, and a secondary access safety standpoint for phase 2. So did the TAA, it basically showed, even without any of those changes, it was still in a safe and functioning level, and we did additional mitigation measures to improve circulation for the school. So a handful of things.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, thanks, gentlemen, for making the trip out here and presenting to us. That's great. Forgive me, my questions are at a broad level, and it's possible, obviously, these are more appropriate in the concept planning stage. But I just wanted to, while you're here, just ask you a little bit more about your vision for the neighborhood. So just really briefly. When you talk about complete neighborhood, and forgive me, I wasn't a commissioner at the time the concept plan was approved, but just in the big picture, how big is this neighborhood? Like, how many residents are you kind of just rough ballpark kind of hoping for in a neighborhood like this?
Totally, great question. Several hundred residents.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact acreage of the site, but
Yeah.
I think our second phase is close to almost 200 lots being developed out there.
Right.
Phase 1 captured the majority of the, I would say, mid-rise type product
Sure.
and townhome type product.
Yeah.
Complete communities, I think the rezoning is particularly of importance in addressing that. You have obviously the school, you have a daycare in that immediate location. We're adding density on the front end of the site. You're creating, an active pedestrian corridor for
Sure.
people living in that space. So I look at a complete community standpoint is, are we approaching the neighborhood from a holistic standpoint? And I would say, we've got the school, we've got the park there, we've got a daycare. So people who, are buying in that neighborhood or living in that neighborhood, they can go to school there, they can, go do outdoor activities. So it's complete in that sense. So yeah, by targeting kind of that density of that growth, you're basically creating that sense of place at the entrance to the site.
Okay, understood. That's very good. And so then, of the kind of roughly speaking 200 sort of developed lots, how many of those would fit in the so-called purpose-built rental housing? Was that, obviously some are for sale and then some will be for rent? And
Yeah, I think there's a handful of blocks in phase 2 that have the
Sure.
potential to be purpose-built rental. Obviously the subject of this application being the Courtney Street applications, we're working with a developer there who predominantly does purpose-built rental, but they could obviously
Sure.
shift that to a market, type format.
Right.
But it would be a mid-rise type of format, 3 to 4 story building.
Sure, I see. Okay, that makes sense. And just lastly, obviously, in doing the concept plan and in doing some of the initial sort of market research, some of the other key community-based infrastructure and amenities that you discussed, they can kind of take more load, like the school and the daycare and, you know, roadways and infrastructure can take it, or do you envision down the road that a community of that size would need its own daycare, its own school, or its, just big picture? I mean, I know you don't know for certain, but.
Yeah, I mean, I would think given the size of the neighborhood, you know, it's not, you know, it's not a Coopertown to, you know, to the south
Sure,
of us, but,
right.
you know, you know, certainly there's a school there. I'm assuming it's been sized correctly to accommodate the Rosewood Park neighborhood.
yeah.
The daycare, I mean, we all need more there's right? So,
I
you
get
know,
it.
hopefully there's some capacity left there, but, you know, I would hope that if you're living in that neighborhood, there's still some options for you to get in on those, the school and the daycare specifically.
Okay. Well, thank you. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent. I don't see any other questions. I'll ask one more time. Are there any? Okay, there are not. Thank you for your presentation. I'll ask that you return to the gallery.
Thank you.
Okay, we are now going to consider this item, RPC 25-29. And, pardon? No. Is there a change of some kind? No? Yeah, we're here. Yeah. It's okay, no problem. I'm going to ask Mr. Fenton to please introduce the report.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this report addresses two applications. First, an amendment to the Rosewood Park Concept Plan, specifically to redesignate 2 blocks within the plan area from high-density residential to medium-density residential, and to redesignate a block currently reserved for commercial or mixed use, to redesignate that to a medium-density residential designation, and immediately adjacent to that parcel, a privately owned stormwater management facility, to redesignate that to medium-density residential as well. And then finally, regarding the concept plan amendments, the addition of a rear lane in one of the blocks, which will enhance and increase the potential for on-street parking in the vicinity of the school. And secondly, application to rezone. So that relates specifically to the parcels currently reserved for the mixed-use commercial and the stormwater management facility. The proposal is to rezone those to the residential low-rise zone. The other 2 blocks that I mentioned that were redesignated within the concept plan to medium density, that's for a future rezoning application, not today. So the concept plan is addressing more than the rezoning, essentially. But the applicants will be coming forward in the not too distant future with another rezoning application. So the applications were subject to the public and technical review, mailed to 40 addresses in the vicinity of the neighborhood, including on the east side of Courtney Street in the Maple Ridge neighborhood. The public feedback was quite limited. However, as far as communication goes, the really important conversations that we had were with the school authorities, specifically the Regina Public School and Regina Catholic School. We do have a relatively new policy. It was adopted by council last year that requires better integration, residential integration with schools, with the purpose of ensuring that the intensity of residential is appropriate when it's being built immediately next to a school from a traffic perspective. We did have 2 meetings with the school authorities on these applications. And some of the measures I summarized were voluntary by the applicant to mitigate traffic. So the addition of the rear lane is an example, and the change from high density to medium density were both measures that the applicant voluntarily undertook to mitigate some of the traffic issues. And you know, the issue of the traffic is something that we're monitoring, and for the next rezoning application, we expect to have more information for the Regina Planning Commission on this subject to present. So that's the summary, the traffic being the sort of kind of key issue, as everybody is aware. And I'll leave it at that. So here to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Fenton. Can I have someone move the recommendation with the following really important amendment? Listen carefully. That a correction to the numbering for the comparison of existing and proposed zoning appendix be made from Appendix C to Appendix E. Ooh. Who will move that? Thank you. Ms. Cal, do you wish to speak on the report?
I have one question.
Sure. Oh, are you on?
Not yet.
There you are.
Okay, yeah. Surprise, it's on traffic. There was a comment made earlier that they're going to connect the area with Wayland Drive, but that falls outside of the red square and it's in the urban holding. So is that something that the city is looking into, or how would that be addressed?
Through the chair, we'll allow Chad Bosgood and the administration to answer that question.
Yeah, so to answer your question, as we all know, traffic was a concern and issue in this area. What they're looking at doing is running a road from Silverleaf on the south side of where the public service parcel is, which is the storm detention pond, I should say. And then as you get closer to Courtney Road, there's a section that's considered just right-of-way that the city already owns. So what they're planning to do is what'll be a temporary road in the meantime to connect Silverleaf over, run along the south side of Rosewood, and then deviate to Wayland Drive within the city's property that's held, that we own for the future Courtney Street widening. So that'll provide a secondary access, alleviate some of the pressures that we are currently seeing on Maple River Boulevard. We're still working with Troika to figure out kind of what exactly that's going to look like. I say it's a temporary roadway. This will be like a paved proper roadway. This isn't, a gravel road or something of that nature. So we're still working with all the full details on that, but that will be done through Rosewood's land before deviating onto our property. Yes, it's outside of the Rosewood proper, and eventually this will be replaced by the permanent Wayland Drive as Coopertown develops. But for the meantime, this will provide that secondary access.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaisier. You're next.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but is there a change in taxes as a result of rezoning, or is it just dependent on what they build? Like, if regardless of the zone, what they build would lead to the same tax outcome?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. So property assessment would be dependent on what's actually structurally built above the ground.
Oh, great.
And I would just also like to take this opportunity to point out the question Ms. Kell had previously related to the roadway. While we are working with the developer on the development of that piece of roadway, that is not part of the zoning process that we're facing right now. That actually is not a requirement until they start phase 2 of their development. They could do that work any point in time, but we're not requiring it as part of this application.
Only imagine what one road into a school that services not only this area but all the rest, trying to get in and out. And yes, it's only like 3 pinch points a day, but that's huge. So
Thank you. Through the chair, I just wanted to provide that.
Please, thank you. I yield. Thank you again, through the chair. So I'm okay. I have no questions about the western part of this proposal. With the eastern part, where, if I understand correctly, the proposal is for medium high rise to residential low rise. Is that right? Yeah. Given that there's no change in tax as a result of the zoning, and if I understand correctly, the developments that the proponents said they are likely to be built there, is there any reason that we wouldn't be able to go to RH just so that they would have flexibility if they wanted to change something? It seems to me that we're down zoning anyway, right? Like, what they could build now is more intensive than what they're asking to build. And to me, it seems, okay, it makes sense to rezone it from mixed use to residential use if it's going to be set aside for residential uses. But if the city's already decided that higher density, higher intensity would fit there, why not? They don't need to come back and ask me again if it would still fit there. It would still fit there. So I almost would wonder, like, why not make it RH instead of RL to allow flexibility in the future?
Through the chair, there's a couple different considerations, I suppose. The development standards between the RH and RL zones are actually not much different in this context. They both really allow for the same development potential. That is something that we're looking at changing in the future, but as today, that is the case. The other factor is that if we did allow for increased intensity on this site, there would be probably further concern with the school boards, as they have expressed an aversion to too much intensity in locations adjacent to the schools, particularly the new ones, which are about twice as large as the older ones. So we have a policy generally to try to mitigate too much activity and intensity around schools, and that was really the most important factor in working through the different aspects of this application.
That works for me. Thank you, Chair. Thanks, administration.
You're welcome. And next on the list is Mr. Sontag.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, if I am wrong in this assumption, then all of my following questions are irrelevant. They're proposing to rezone the water retention as well. Did I understand that correctly? I was reading through it and was confused earlier on as well.
Who wants to take that? Mr. Mario? Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I just wasn't certain. So yeah, if you scroll to Appendix C, which is the concept plan, you'll see at the southeast corner in gray, it's marked SWM, that's stormwater management facility.
Yep.
That's the current stormwater retention pond, detention pond, sorry, for the area, and that will be rezoned to residential. So that's part of it, and that will be physically relocated to an area to the west of the property. So all the stormwater management will be managed in a different way. So the area that is developable will be increasing at the subject location. However, that's being offset by sort of down zoning a high density to a medium density further to the west along Mapleford Boulevard. I know it's a bit complicated to follow,
no,
but generally we're trying to balance everything out. So we're adding a little bit of intensity at the entrance to the neighborhood, and we're decreasing it further along to the west. So essentially what's happening is going to be a little bit more intensity at the entrance. The traffic won't need to go past the school as frequently. It'll just kind of come into the neighborhood and then exit because it's closest to the entrance to the neighborhood.
That's helpful, actually. So the stormwater retention, just in my personal opinion, is a bit of an issue in the city when we get rain. So if I'm understanding this right, the retention pond is going to be moved further away from the school, or it's closer to the school, further away?
Through the chair, it looks to be a little bit further away. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions from the team? Seeing none, I would like to ask the mover. Oh, sorry, got one? Okay.
Could
Please
you
go ahead.
just indulge one more question on
Sure.
infrastructure? And again, forgive me, this may be the focus of a later discussion on actual build, but I just know that the note does make a number of references to future infrastructure needs are essentially, it's not an issue. So just as an example, just on page 6, it says that there are no water servicing issues. I just wondered if you could just comment just generally on the neighborhood. And forgive me, you're kind of educating me at the same time, because I just don't know on a neighborhood plan, like what the needs are, big picture for a community. Like when we talk about a complete community, does each complete community kind of require its own lift station, its own stormwater drainage, its own, new sewer and water infrastructure? Like I see it on the, for example, on the, just off of the highway number 1, the new development we've discussed in the last 2 meetings. I see them doing that. So I guess my question is just, when you say there are no water servicing issues, do you mean we don't anticipate having any problems providing them with water, but there's definitely going to be a future ask for a lift station, or another lift station that exists will be able to accommodate this? That's all I'm asking, is just where are we kind of big picture?
Thank you, through the chair. I'll start, and then Mr. Mario will probably add in some details. But generally speaking, the last couple of years, the city's undertaken an overall city-wide servicing plan. So while we have done things a little bit different historically, we now have a citywide servicing plan, which gives us that bigger picture, how we're going to service our entire city. In this particular case, the area will eventually be served for wastewater by that northwest lift station. Yeah. But they do have capacity where they are at right now with this lift station and with water as well. So not every community requires a lift station. But we do have identified throughout the city now kind of what we're looking at in terms of where the needs will be as we continue to grow, taking in the citywide context. Mr. Mario, do you have anything further to add?
Maybe just a little bit, yeah. So when we approve a new concept plan, part of our due diligence is to ensure that it's able to be serviced with water, sewer, stormwater detention, and that traffic is able to be accommodated. So sort of at that initial stage where we get a good conceptual level of what the constraints are, how much it will cost, does it conform with city policy, is it creating long-term infrastructure maintenance burden to the city, that sort of thing. So we have those discussions kind of at the outset of a new neighborhood, and then we kind of go into detail as subdivision unfolds. So that's the main thing that I would add to Ms. Braden's answer.
Oh, that's very helpful. I appreciate that, and thanks for the bit of history there for me. That's good to know. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to ask one thing about TIAs. The burden is on the developer to do that, but then I overheard you saying we when we talked about traffic in the future. So could you sort of tell me how that blends together? Autumn, go ahead.
Yeah, for this application through you, Mr. Chair, the request is coming from the applicant to do a change. And so as part of their submission, they will submit to us traffic impact assessment. We have technical experts that would review that, make sure that the assumptions within those documents are correct and that they align with our long-term plans for the area. We also do our own infrastructure planning in terms of roadways and traffic for some of the larger system-wide functions.
Yeah.
And so some of those pieces do fall within Ms. Bryden's division. And then when they come to more specific, more localized changes being requested by an applicant, the onus is on them to submit those along with their applications for our review.
And when, this is a new guy question, when a TIA is asked for from this group, do we tell them what parameters we're looking for? Are we suggesting all the indicators that we're looking for?
I generally know this answer, but I'm going to pass this to Mr. Bosgood.
Go ahead.
So yeah, typically what we do when we're requesting a TIA that's for a new development, their transportation engineer will provide a design brief that kind of outlines what they had in mind for where they're going to be evaluating different intersections and otherwise. We will have a conversation with them whether or not that's sufficient or not. So we can request whatever intersections we want. So we make sure that whatever they're going to be evaluating intersections, time of day they're doing it, or even when they're doing traffic counts, things of that nature, it's all being done in accordance to our city design standards and that we're comfortable before they proceed. So once we've kind of had that initial conversation to scope that TIA to make sure that it's covering what we need as a city, they would then be responsible for completing the TIA. It then comes back into my team to complete the review to make sure it kind of follows and meets our design standards. Once it's approved or reviewed and seen as sufficient, then it kind of formulates the documents that would form or inform the concept plan or rezoning or whatever it happens to be. So,
Gotcha.
so to answer your question, yes, we are able to indicate kind of the parameters of what they're needed.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Seeing no other questions, turn myself off. Seeing no other questions, I'll turn it back to the mover. Would you like to close debate? Great, I'll ask the clerk to start the vote.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Adams,
In favor?
Commissioner Aston,
In favor?
Commissioner Gasser,
In favor?
Commissioner Kell. In favor. Commissioner Morgan,
In favor?
Commissioner Sontag,
In favor?
Commissioner Wilson,
In favor.
Councillor Rasevich,
In favor.
Councillor Radens,
In favor?
and you, Mr. Chair.
In favor.
With all members present voting in favor, this motion is carried.
Unanimous all across the board.
Thank you. And now the part you've all been waiting for. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Oh, I thought it was a closing speech.
Aha, something from Ms. Wilson today. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Any opposed?
Get my name on there somewhere.
Better not be. Carried. Thank you, everybody.